Hello, I'm Khushbu Soni. I'm the founder of The Mainstream. I'm very excited to invite my guest. We have Amith Kumar, is someone who brings both heart and hustle to the world of marketing. As a senior director of marketing at Netradyne, he's helping shape future of road and driver safety through tech, but his journey spans much more. With years of experience across global markets, Amit has worn many hats from sales to brand strategy, always focused on building meaningful connections, driving growth, and inspiring teams. He is a firm believer in collaboration, innovation, and learning from fellow marketers. That's exactly what makes his story one worth listening to. So, thank you so much, Amit, for joining us today. And we're really excited to hear about your journey and your story today.
Thank you so much, Khushbu. Appreciate for having me here, and I'm happy to share, whatever little I know, because the learning, especially in marketing space, never ends, never finishes. So happy to be here.
Fantastic. So, Amit, let's start at the beginning. What sparked your journey into marketing? How did it evolve into a leadership role, spanning global markets and now at Netradyne?
Well, my marketing journey is accidental. I'm one of those, who does not really plan, what I'm going to do after 2 years, 5 years. And I think it holds good, especially in the current era where things are changing so rapidly. I might like to build a career in something and probably tomorrow it is outdated, right? But I think I've been fortunate. One thing I kept on doing is learning what's coming my way and what interests me as well. So I started my career in sales with some of the global companies. That gave me a hands-on experience on, okay, what matters to the customer, what matters to the market, how do they react, what kind of questions come from them, what challenges they're facing. And then marketing role came my way and I took it up with a company called IBM, spent about 8 years there. And in those 8 years, again, changed four different roles. None of that role was planned. It just happened maybe because the role got opened up. I liked it and I took it up. Of course, I had to apply for it. But to answer the question on the leadership part, I would like to share something. One of my mentors a decade back told me one thing. He said, if you want to take up any role, whether it is horizontal or vertical, start interacting with that person and start acting and behaving like that person who is doing that role. And I remember when I become a second line at IBM, my upline, that was the role I was eyeing at. And I continued to, partner with him, shoulder, work with him closely on every initiative that he was driving. And eventually, the top management thought that I can do that role, when he decided to move on. And that's how the leadership happened. And I feel fortunate that leadership roles give you much more exposure, much more knowledge, interaction opportunities, which are otherwise tough if you're an IC role because you're limited to only one part of the business. So that has been my journey, has been quite learning journey, I would say.
Fantastic. So you've led roles both for large and small teams across continents. How do you adapt your marketing strategy and organization at different stages of growth?
Before I answer that question, I want to take a step back. We marketers typically measured the number of customer acquisitions you may drive, primarily around, expanding the market, acquiring customers. But I think marketing has a way bigger role in any company's charter, right? How is your brand perceived by not just customers, but potential partners, by potential employees, your existing customers, by influencers, by media, right? You're going public, whether you have got enough excitement in the market for the retail and the institutional investors to invest in you, right? So there is a bigger agenda that marketing can drive. Now, to answer the questions on the different stages of growth, I've been working with, very small startups who are just at the pre-seed and seed stage, to large MNCs as well. What I've been focusing on, if you're in a pre-seed and seed stage, you're short on funds, right? You look for investors. So your strategy is different there, right? But at the same time, you also have to validate your big idea that you're working on. So you partner with the CEO or the founder to address these two areas primarily. But as you move towards, early and growth stage, now you need adopters of that product or that big idea that you have developed. Now, how do you drive that? And remember, you still do not have large funds unless, you're well funded. There are some cases there as well, right? Where you can go all out and invest on ATL strategies. right? But in B2B space, that's not the luxury typically we see, right? So you have to look at, growth marketing mindset that how can I achieve more with less resources, less money, less people, right? You can look at, things like community building. You can look at building a PR strategy, right? And then really interacting with the potential customers, building the personal brand of founders significantly helps, right?
Right.
But as you move towards the expansion and journey ahead, and I think that's where the game totally changes because you want to have a pull and not just push. The
Correct.
amount of noise we have in the market now, it's very tough unless you can invest heavily on the ATL. And we know there are a ton of companies who do that, right?
Mm.
But you may not be able to do that. And mind it, that may not be sustainable always because you're visible, till you're visible, you're getting business. But once you're not visible, you're gone. People will forget you. So how do you build that sustainable pull is what matters. And I remember one study from McKinsey, I think it was a couple of years back, it still holds good, which says a typical B2B buying cycle is influenced by sales by 16 or 17%. However, the brand influence is about 18%, 1% higher than the sales
Right.
efforts,
Right.
right? That's all is product, right? You need to have the
Right.
product, no doubt about that, which has to address the issues. But the interesting factor is the brand influence that a
Yeah.
B2B buyer has in their mindset before they buy. How do you do that? Branding, brand-led marketing, right? That's where the game changes. Other thing at the stage where you struggle majorly is to attract and retain talent.
Right.
Right. We again focus on demand generation, but attracting talent is a big problem for the founders. How do you address it? And that's where you have to look at, newer ways of showcasing that you are the company which has got the right set of, growth path, right set of, founders, right set of environment where anyone can flourish. Now to answer all of this, now there are a ton of strategies, but I'm a firm believer of one strategy, which is cost effective, which is most powerful and helps build sustainable growth. And that too across all audience, investors, employees, customers, media, influencers. And that is public relation.
Right.
I think that is an underdog which has not been leveraged enough. But imagine, you're a tech company and your team or your product is showcased in Times Techies or Times of India,
Right.
right? Your all four audience organically, by the way, right?
Yeah.
All of your audience will read it more impactfully than an ad which is showing up on the app or on some websites, some digital ads or things like that. So that has been my strategy primarily when I work with different stages of companies who are in different growth stage.
Fantastic. So at Netradyne, you are advancing road and driver safety through tech. How do you balance purpose-led storytelling with performance marketing in such a mission-critical space?
Oh, I tell you, I feel really fortunate that I'm with Netradyne, with a mission where you talk about saving lives,
Yeah.
saving human lives on the road, right? And that's a mission statement, one life, one extra life, one additional life that we can save. But if you have, these kind of stories to talk about, you you don't have to do much, right? What you have to do is, provide these stories, purpose as the core message. Your purpose becomes the core message, and build a narrative, that genuinely builds connection with your target audience, right?
Correct.
You don't need to do a lot. Share authentic stories, enhance brand trust, and again coming back to, that's where we are focused on. It's called brand led growth, right? Where we tell stories about the drivers, about the people who are getting coast through our technologies and in turn making roads safer for everybody. And that's how we're generating pull. While the efforts on the push are also there, but the focus is primarily on pull and that has been doing wonders, you know, especially in the era which is extremely noisy.
Yeah, fantastic. And I mean, CMOs today under immense pressure to deliver both, short-term ROI and long-term brand equity. What's your approach to managing this kind of tension?
I remember in 2012, this was my second year of marketing career. I started hearing about budget cuts,
Yeah,
right? Budget cut every year and increase goals. And I've been hearing this every year after that. So I believe, this pressure has been there on marketing.
right.
You have to deliver more with less. Nothing has changed. No matter how good you are doing as a business, there is more that you have to do. So to address this, ironically, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. You have to still look at technology. You still have to look at, close collaboration with your internal as well as external stakeholders. You have to still look at operational efficiency, right? So these three things again. One, close integration with sales. If you're driving demand gen, or if you're driving other narratives like employer branding, obviously HR and other teams. But close integration with the required stakeholder is required because that's where CMOs struggle, right? We have seen the average tenure of CMOs have gone down dramatically in the last 2 years or 3 years, even with Fortune 500 companies. And the reason what I see and what I read about is the integration missing, whether it is sales, whether it is the CEO, right? But most importantly is the use of technology. You have to continuously innovate. Innovation is not just sitting in the innovation lab of your product R&D department. Innovation is happening in everything that we do. And accepted that, now technology has gone so smarter for us that, I mean, as an example, the content creation, the outreach, all of that is can be streamlined so easily with the
Yeah.
advancement of new technologies. So
Yeah.
this is what I would focus on.
Yeah, so true, so true. And I mean, like you said, it is how it is. I mean, there are issues with the budget cuts, but the numbers can't go down, right? The expectation, of course, goes up, and it marketing is about innovation with so much of dynamics in the market, with consumers, with even expectations from the B2B customers. It is difficult to kind of keep coming up with innovative ideas and also deliver the best ROI, right? So, with your cross functional expertise of having both in sales and marketing background, how has this synergy helped you deliver better results? What advice would you want to give to other CMOs building closer alignment with sales?
I think this has been the most advantageous factor with me in my career because I've done sales. I know how what they go through during their typical day, how their customers react, what it takes to close a deal of $1,000 versus $1 million deal.
Right.
That gives me a very hands-on experience in terms of their expectations, right? And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why invariably when I look at the metrics that I or my team are driving beyond what marketing teams look at typically, I firmly believe that MQL is something, that has killed many CMOs
Yeah.
because I may have a very good MQL number on board, but sales did not happen. Sales leader is on fire, right? But then it's not happening. The CEO is under tremendous pressure,
Yeah.
right? But me as a marketing, I'm beating my chest
Right.
all around the office.
Right.
That's not that's not the right approach. And that's what I believe that MQLs, website visitors, impressions, clicks are good to have for your internal progress, right? Because you have to measure them to get to a next level of outcomes that you're driving. But when you go and talk to the sales leaders or the management, look at what matters to them. And believe me, if you're talking about sales, they would be more interested in SQLs. They would be more interested in how many trials your team has arranged for them. What have you done to progress the existing opportunities for them? What have you done on the ABM part to make inroads in new large accounts? What have you done to cross-sell and upsell in the existing accounts to support sales function? And believe me, this is what a CEO would also love to hear,
Right.
right?
Right.
So my recommendation is, we as a marketing community have to start looking at those bigger goals. And one thing I always encourage everyone in my team, irrespective of the role that you're in, whether you're in an ops role, demand gen role, performance marketing, branding, communication, spend time with customers.
Correct.
Spend time with customers, whether it is in events, discovery calls happening, right? But unless you hear from the horse's mouth, you do not know.
True.
And that's where HI comes, human intelligence. AI will still take a back seat. So let's look at HI and let's look at what matters to the customers. I'm sure marketing fraternity will continue to shine.
Superb. What are some of the emerging trends or tech tools that excite you in the marketing space, especially in the context of B2B tech and AI-led personalization? You spoke about HI will always be on the top, but are there any tools that you always preferred the most?
I mean, there are a ton of tools that we use in our ecosystem. Zapier, Napkin.ai, there are a ton of those tools. Some of the good ones that I use is Fibler. I don't know whether you're aware, but that gives an additional attribution to your LinkedIn ads because we are in B2B space and we do not know that your ad was seen because no one likes to engage with your ads, right?
Right.
But they still see it, right? They may not have downloaded any marketing material or clicked on your CTA, but they might have still seen. So this is one tool, which helps you get that attribution. It is connected to your CRM. Common Room is another one, which looks at buying signal, that empowers ABM. Warmly.ai is another tool. So there are a ton of tools, but I'm very bullish on something new, on
Mhm.
something LLMs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now all of our searches are are now happening on LLM platforms,
Okay.
right? So how do you move your SEO strategy
Yeah,
to a generative engine optimization? It's called GEO, right? Now you have to be visible on LLM platforms. I go to ChatGPT, I search for something, whether my brand is showing up there or not,
right.
and what is being shown. And I think that's another big area which will eventually be a big deal for marketers, especially in the B2B space.
So true. This is exciting. Awesome. So, another question I wanted to understand is you've mentored and inspired many marketing professionals in your career. What do you believe makes a marketing leader truly a future ready?
Oh, first of all, I'm glad that I'm not starting my career now because it's so tough. There are so much disruptions
So true.
happening. It's very tough because you learn one thing, oh, that's outdated tomorrow, right? And you still have to build your basics along with it, and those basics are also changing. So I feel fortunate, but one thing, or three things rather, I share, whenever I meet with my mentees or go to colleges, is upskilling.
Right.
That does not change. Not a big fan of, as I said in the earlier part, not a big fan of 2, 3 or 5 years of career planning. I think that has gone now. That does not exist. But upskilling is critical now. Upskilling in what area? Because there are so many opportunities. Look for something what interests you.
Right.
Not digital marketing is a buzzword. People get carried away, but they don't enjoy. You may
Yeah.
enjoy ATL, you may enjoy branding, you may enjoy something else, right?
Yeah.
You may enjoy sales, you may enjoy customer success, right? So look for those areas which interest you. That's number one. Number two is, as I shared about the guidance I received from one of my mentors, is if you want to grow in the company, look at the role, look at the person who's doing that role, and then start behaving, acting like one. You will get there. Of course, there is a journey towards it. But specifically for marketers, one thing I would request is be a responsible marketer.
Right.
Every ad that we show is being watched by you do not know who all, kids,
Right.
Gen Zs, old generation, and you do not know how it is impacting them. So
Right.
we need to have a responsible way of communicating. I'm not supporting an idea which can influence someone negatively and
Right.
then impacts the future generation. So let us be more responsible in everything that we do.
Okay, lastly, one last question. What's one challenge you believe CMOs don't talk enough about, and how should they start addressing it?
Well, there are many challenges in the life of CMO, whether budget cuts we spoke about, whether integration with sales. But I think one thing which is not spoken and personally bothering me is the tech disruption. Now, it is good to have too many new age tools,
Yeah,
right? AI coming in, but where do you stop? Because if you keep on introducing new tech tools to your MarTech,
yeah,
right? When are you operating fully, right? Because every time you into something to your tech stack, the entire cycle is impacted,
correct.
right? Your outcomes will get impacted. So how and where do you put the yardstick and say, hey, now I think we are set. Let's continue with this, and we will enhance as and when we grow. We were talking about AI till yesterday.
Yeah,
Yesterday, we started talking about Gen AI.
yeah,
Today we're talking about agentic AI.
yeah,
Where's the end, right?
yeah,
While all of this is good and helping all of us, but somewhere, too much disruption, and that's the biggest challenge right now. I see that how do we handle it?
yeah.
Because we have to still deliver today, tomorrow.
True, so true. And it is interesting to see how the years to come are going to be, with so much of disruptions and evolution that is happening every now and then, right? So, and it is at a very fast pace that we're seeing so much of disruptions and the changes in the market. And so it is very interesting to see how it turns out. But a very interesting conversation, Amit, and really loved your insights and thought process and perspectives to how you really deal with situations, challenges, your ideas and learnings in your journey, right? So this was really exciting. I have one last segment, which is going to be my rapid fire, which I always enjoy the most. It's I'm going to shoot questions, and whatever comes first in your mind is what I and my viewers would like to know. So you ready?
Okay.
Awesome. One marketing buzzword you secretly like.
Humanization.
A campaign you wish you had led.
That Nike and Adidas campaign in Olympics 2012. What Nike did was so smart. I wish I was part of that campaign.
Your favorite way to unwind.
Oh, I'm a lazy person. Sleep.
Okay. Your favorite productivity hack or app.
LLM platforms. They're saving my life.
Awesome. The one skill every modern marketer must master.
Sales.
Interesting. One last one. If you weren't in marketing, which field would you pick up? Or you would have picked up?
I would have had an NGO supporting the kids of martyrs. Our soldiers are losing lives on the border, inside the country as well. But what happens to their families? I really feel for them, and I wish at some point in my life I can do something about them for them.
Lavi, I think it was a lovely chat and loved all your perspectives. Keeping human intelligence first is something that I feel that everybody should really consider, right? And thank you so much for joining us today on this episode and lovely interacting with you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Lovely interacting with you as well. Made me think about something new as well. Thank you.